So you'll want to stick around so you can see what that one thing is. Hello Shiny family, welcome back to my channel. I hope your day has gotten off to a great start. If you notice, mine started off with rain. If you're new to my channel, welcome. We're glad that you're here. Today I'm going to share with you a journal entry that I thought you guys may be interested in, and I will be sharing also some little snippets of some life updates. I started filming this video last night. I had not had any time at my little corner space in my office, and I had been longing to create and to utilize some things that I had been saving for my journal. And so right now I'm just taking a few moments to trim some of these items up so I can better create with them. And I actually do want to use this piece of net for the next entry that I create. For the extra pieces not used in my journal, I will use those in future abstract artwork. If you saw my last video, you saw those nets laying on my desk and I threw them over on my art table. Those nets came from the little pumpkins that were in my last video, that I had a bunch of them in a little basket. I had picked those up off the dollar rack at Target, which they weren't $1. I don't even know why Target calls that a dollar rack. The things I usually pick up are not $1. But anyway, that's where the net came from, was from those. And if you see my bucket here now, it is starting to get a little full since I started this project back earlier this year. I've been collecting things along the way, and I've been itching so much to get in here and create. I have several little combos stuck together there that I know that I want to make into pages, but this season of life has me full. For this journal entry, I knew that I wanted to stick with fall colors, and so as you can tell, I'm kind of having a hard time narrowing down exactly what I want to use for this page. Maybe you can relate, or maybe you worry that if you started a project like this that you would never get to the point where you felt comfortable with the outcome. But I will tell you that if you just start somewhere and start tinkering with it and putting items down and rearranging them, eventually it's like our eyes and heart and mind and soul kind of click, and we're like, oh yeah, that's it. Someone recently said, I haven't been seeing you. Hope you are well. I am well. My daughter marries in January. I shared this in 3 videos back. Not to harp on it, but my time has been spent chasing dresses. Not just a dress for me, not just a dress for my daughter to wear on her wedding day, but a dress for my mother, and a dress for my younger daughter who will be in the bridal party. So not only chasing dresses, we've had showers and celebration, planning, and even an unplanned surgery. A soccer championship for my youngest daughter, and babysitting a dog while my youngest attends wedding festives herself. Today it rains, 100% of rain in the forecast. My mother turned 70 over the weekend. My sister and I met her for lunch, just the 3 of us. We don't get to do this very often. These are a few things that I've been collecting. Receipts, clothes tags, straw wrapper. The little yellow squares were from bouillon cubes. The red netting was from some potatoes. tickets from the fair, grocery list, tea bag holder, some clippings out of a magazine, more net. I think those came off Brussels sprouts. Those little orange strips I just laid down, those came off of dog food, which my dog does not eat that food anymore. The strips that you saw me cutting at the very beginning of the video were from my clothes detergent. Finally, I had a chance to sit at my art table in the corner. If you watched my last video, you saw it at the end of the video. That was me representing missing creating in this season of life. I hope you enjoyed this time that I created, and I am sharing it with you. These moments of gathering things along my day, you can notice that all of these items are things that someone would find throughout their day. And my representation of it is to make memories and gather things along my journey so others can see what my life consists of. Not only also a keepsake so that, you know, I can look back on one day and think about what it was like during this season of my life. And also one day that my children will be able to look back and see what things were like for me. I started this process of thinking to do this type of journaling years ago. I just didn't ever put it to practice fully like I would have liked to. When my girls were littler, and both of them still lived at home, and I'm talking littler like kindergarten, elementary, you know, I would come across things throughout my day because I was a stay-home parent and who worked solely from home, and things like dryer sheets, little squares like you see in here, like the red and the gold. Those are from bouillon cubes that I will cook with. So I even collected those from way back when, and I would have like oatmeal wrappers from where I would eat my oatmeals in the morning. So basically anything that I would come across, and I did put some of those into practice in former journals. I wish I would have done it more, I guess is what I'm saying. But I did teach a Bible study one semester at my church, and I encouraged the women then to collect things throughout their day. We put those in a journal to go along with the study that we were doing currently at that time. It was a study about being a wife. The Beautiful Wife by Sandra Roya. You know, I encourage you to think about things throughout your everyday life and collect them. Start you a little, you know, basket, or you could put things in a Ziploc bag or a bowl, you know, whatever you find fitting for you, and start collecting those things that you come across throughout your day, whether it be like a grocery receipt, a grocery list. If you notice here, I poured the Mod Podge directly on top of the red netting. I was a little concerned though if it would bleed through, so it would actually go onto the page. And that's why I was lifting it up to check it. When creating a page like this, if you start with 3 main pieces that you know you really like I have here, the brown net, the red net, and the brown foil, then you can build off of that and start adding your other items. Some of these pieces, though, you've really got to make sure you really cover with Mod Podge a lot, you know, a good bit of it. At this point, I still wasn't 100% sure where this entry was going, but I knew that I had the base here, and so I'm going to just continue tinkering with items and colors in the palette that I want to represent for this journal entry. Are you someone who loves to decorate for the holidays, whether it be Christmas or Halloween or Thanksgiving? Are you someone who loves decorating your home in general, you just don't have the funds to do it? I encourage you, if you have not before, to start a journal similar to this, or do your research on journaling and find what it is that you like. Doing strictly watercolor or something may be your style, or doing pencil sketches. Something to fulfill your creativity will go a lot further than you having to have the money to decorate your home the way you want to, because I believe we are all creators at heart, and we can grow frustrated and weary when we think that we're not able to create because we don't have that money. So that is one reason that I enjoy doing this particular journaling, because it is, essentially a free outlet for me. Of course, I have to cover the cost of a journal and Mod Podge, but at least I'm not creating canvas after canvas after canvas that stack up, that never, gets sold or whatever, but I'm still able to practice and release that creativity. And I have found that it has been real rewarding through the years. It's important when we are creating a journal page like this, or if we're creating on a canvas, to narrow down the pieces that we think we would want to include in our piece by the color scheme that we are going for, which I did that earlier in this video. And so those are the pieces that are to the side now that I am working with. And if you notice, I at least give each one a shot, and I will pick ones up and turn them around and shift them and put them in a different location until I get that feel. If you notice, I had one bouillon cube, the gold, up at the top, and then I switched it out for a different one. In person, I could see on the corner of the yellow bouillon cube foil, there was a piece of like black. I'm not sure what it was. It was imprinted in there, but I didn't like it. It didn't look good. Maybe one day for something else it will be great, but I chose to switch it out. I really wanted to use the purple in there as a fall color and pull out just some different color scheme in this particular thing, but it just didn't work out. I thought I wanted to use the black too. I just wasn't feeling it. And you probably wonder, well, Ashley, you keep talking about this feel. Well, because I have worked with and done this type of work for many years now and had lots of practice and skill and training and watching other artists and growing on my own, I have spent enough time that I know when the feel is right for me. So I encourage you to keep on until you get your feel. Okay, I believe everything is about set in place. I'm going to finish drying these pieces up, and then I'm going to cook dinner for my family, and I will return later where we will finish this page up. Okay, dinner was awesome last night. Our chili turned out wonderful. My oldest daughter and her fiance came by, and we all ate together, and it was a great time of family. Right now, I'm going to be sorting through some of my supplies. I've decided, now that I've come back to seeing this journal entry today, that I would like to add a little watercolor to it. So I'm going to get my paintbrushes and my water and my paper towel ready so that we can tackle the rest of this entry. As time goes on, you will notice at the end of me finishing this journal entry, I do decide to add one more little something. So you'll want to stick around so you can see what that one thing is that I add to this journal entry. I want to stick with colors, watercolors, within the palette of each item that I've already Mod Podged into this journal. So if you notice, I started out with the darker brown to go with the piece of foil there. That is a piece of foil from a dark chocolate covered peanut butter, the Justin brand. I don't know if you've ever had that before, but it's actually a nice little treat, and it's even kind of fun to stick it in the freezer. My daughter taught me that. So I'm dipping my brush in the water just to gain a little extra water so I can get some of the run effect. And of course, I'm not going to let any of that extra that rolled off on my desk go to waste. So I just picked it up with my finger and kind of smeared it around. And the intent here is not to have everything the same exact shade. I mean, that's kind of part of working with watercolors, but I wanted to go ahead and transfer over to the green, but I didn't want to add too much green, but just enough to give it a little pop to bring out the green that was in the tea bag there. That is a raspberry leaf tea that I like using. I will mix with some other teas that I drink periodically. And the other green is there in the right side of the journal page. It's the yellow and white and green wrapper there. That is a wrapper from Cough Drops that we use here. So I wanted to pull out the additional green for that wrapper and the raspberry leaf wrapper. So to tie in with a little yellow is why I worked some up there towards the top. And now I'll go in with a little bit darker red, but I'm going to smooth some of that out and actually try to get a run here. But that red piece, that's the bouillon cube wrapper, it was kind of blocking, so I didn't get a good run off, but I still gave it a shot and worked around and did some other additional things. So I think that about covers what each piece on that journal page is. So kind of starting up at the very top on the left hand side, the gold foil is bouillon cube. Just under that, the green stick looking thing is like a twisty tie that came off of bread. Then the Justin's wrapper is the brown square, and the white piece that stretches across the two pages, that is a straw wrapper that came from Starbucks from one day when my daughter and I got coffee. Just below that is that brown netting. We really talked a lot about that in the beginning of this video, the brown netting that come off of those pumpkins from the dollar aisle at Target. And then the raspberry leaf tea wrapper. So on the other side, the red netting is the one that was from a pack of red potatoes that I picked up to cook for dinner one night. And then the red, the brighter red square is another bouillon cube. That would be the beef bouillon. The yellow one is chicken. So right next to it, right next to the brighter red bouillon cube wrapper is the cough drop wrapper we talked about a while ago. So that pretty much sums up this far of what all those items are. And if you notice, I am going back in and working and making a few darker strides of color just to kind of tie everything in and give it a pop. So I began with a watercolor to get lighter shades smeared and flowing, and now I'm using that thinner brush to go back in and make a few darker stripes, almost kind of like I'm outlining it, but outlining it with watercolor. If you've never worked with watercolor, they're really easy. This palette that I have came from Michael's. It's probably one of the more cheaper palettes that they have, but I have found over the years that it's what I enjoy the most. It's something that my kids and I have always used, and they're kind of long lasting. You know, I get a lot of use out of them, and I personally like them better than some of the more expensive palettes of watercolor because I've had them. So to finish up here a little bit, I went ahead and used the hairdryer a little more. I kind of like to go ahead and get things dry if I can, especially like working with watercolor, because to me it helps cut down on not having the pages wrinkle up so much, especially in this journal. If you've been following me for a while and you know back several videos ago whenever I started this journal, it actually was not my most favorite, but once I got started in it, because I loved my first page so much, I was like, I've got to keep on going. I mean, I really think I'm going somewhere with the entries that are in here, so I'm going to make the best of it. But you see, I found that something was just missing in that area. I needed something else. So this is what I'm about to use. This is a close tag from a shirt that I picked up at Target. And so once I get it on there, I can't remember exactly how the string laid. You know, it's kind of hard when you're recording. I mean, I knew when I first laid it down that I had it, but I would have had to stop recording this video and go back and look. So I just had to wing it and go with what I felt was best. So I kept just kind of tinkering with it. But something just didn't feel right. But I also wanted to make sure that I had it very secure with enough Mod Podge on there, because being that it was a little, you know, thicker and was a string, I really had to be careful that I, you know, made sure to put enough, because I didn't want down the road for it to come loose and be swaying around in the journal. So I used my finger there to kind of pry the string open, and it really actually ended up being the perfect little token to make me feel better about the positioning and everything. In person, it looks really good how I did it. But because I felt like the tags stood out so much, I got some of that darker brown, and you know, as you can see, I kind of outlined some more and stuff to kind of tie the end, and smeared some across. But I went ahead and started using water to kind of smear it out and not make it so dark on the tag. The point of it was to kind of make it look aged and tied in like it fits with the rest of the project here on this page. And I'm going to use my paper towel to kind of dampen some of the extra water off. Give one more little dry so I can make sure everything is secure. And something kind of splashed there or something, so it looked weird, so I had to work on it. I'm very pleased with the overall outcome of this journal entry. I hope it was a joy for you to watch and learn and hear encouraging words. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Also, let me know if you plan to start a journal similar to this, or if you've even thought about journaling, or if you are currently journaling, or if you just don't see a need for it. I would love to chat with you about it. Leave us a comment below this video. That way those coming by can see what others are having to say, because it really matters and it helps out and works towards engagement for these videos. I hope you have an awesome day, and remember to shine bright no matter where you go, and remember what you do matters and your voice of influence matters. Shine bright. See you next time. Bye.